Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 21st of September. All right, as we come in and look at the markets, bit of a risk-off situation with US equity markets closing down on Friday. If you're just having a look at the major currency pairs here, you've got all the dollar pairs going down and the dollar block going up. So that's pretty nice uniform conditions. What we aren't seeing is the major move. There's no significant move, but it's good to see the correlations are all lined up. The dollar index cruising sideways ever since sort of Thursday-ish. It's just been drifting sideways. I've just adjusted this trend line to the new low, but it was previously just over here, just below 92.80. So the market's still not sure what to do with the dollar, right? Whether it's going up or down. To me, the lack of bounce and the lack of real activity is a bit of concern, and I think we might see some of these pairs start to move this week, especially with Fed Chairman Powell and a few other Fed officials speaking. The Aussie at this point drifting sideways. You can see Euro it's trying to go high. I was going to say it wants to go high, but it's trying to get up there, but just hasn't got the drive, no momentum. That move on Friday with the Kiwi stalled, and it's sort of back around that trend line again, just sort of hanging in there. If anything, dollar yen, I mean, there's nothing really happening with the yen, but it's just cruising to the downside, right? Whether that's some sort of safe haven play, it's hard to sort of say, but you run with that. Sterling slowly picking itself up off the floor, but it's sort of stalled right now. We are focusing very much on some sort of random news out of the EU, UK about some sort of deal. Could see sterling pop to the top side. I think all the negative news is already factored in. So if there's no fresh good news, it may just still slowly squeeze higher. Dollar CAD, once again, to start the week, drifting sideways. Oil's at $41. Now, there's a few stories out there about how much oversupply there is of oil, right? And the lack of demand everywhere. So I'm surprised oil is rallying. I know there's that storms over below the States and the Gulf of Mexico, but you know what? I got to think the price of oil is going to fall. So we may see dollar CAD move to the top side, but at the moment it's not doing much. So really, the only pairs, well, Kiwi's still got a bit of a upward bias in it, but there's not a huge amount of robust activity where you're going to get hugely excited. Right, so let's just have a look at what we've got now. The random geopolitical situation still dominating price action, and that's why there's a lack of momentum across the board in the currencies. Now, we do have a risk-off sentiment, but you know what? The dollar's not behaving that way. So just understand the driving force behind the market isn't exactly clear at this stage. Looks like just dollar weakness to start with. Market direction, well, dollar yen is the only pair that has clear direction, but it's a tough one to get into because over the last year, we see these initial moves, it stalls and just turns around. Now, it just seems to me there's a lack of genuine confidence in trading the yen, and that's why it's just drifting, but there's no real demand for it. Kiwi, it's probably just hanging onto that upward bias in the short-term charts and the hourlies. Otherwise, we are starting to see a lot of these longer-term trends starting to drift sideways. What I'm talking about is dollar index, dollar CAD, euro, sterling, almost the Aussie there as well, right? So the longer term, they've broken through some support or resistance, and they're just drifting sideways, right? Totally lacking any sort of momentum at all. And that's pretty much it. There's no major data coming out. If I just sort of flick through the calendar here, you'll see, it's pretty empty, right? It's a Japanese holiday, so the Asian session should be pretty quiet. Be interesting to see what happens in that European session. Out of the pairs that were correlating with the equity indices on Friday, you've got yen, sterling. Just keep an eye on a few of these pairs and use that correlation matrix, obviously, to your advantage. All we're trying to identify is what's moving with the equity markets. Now, as I was just saying there before, the equity markets up here, especially say the NASDAQ, which has really been on fire of late, been the major focus. That risk on, risk off situation where, risk on, you see the Aussie, Kiwi, CAD higher, dollar lower. We're not seeing that at the moment, right? That pure connection. The correlation matrix is great to use when that is really connected, but at the moment it's not so much. So what you can find here using that correlation matrix is just generally what pairs are moving and with what instruments. So you can sort of isolate that, but it's a little bit, there's a few pairs, a little bit random, but anyway, I'll be waiting for sort of, get all these markets open for Monday, get the weekend news out of the way, right? Especially the European, North American sessions. And then the currencies will come back, connect where they were last week, flush out the new news, and hope then we can start to build on some momentum as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday. All right, guys, have a good trade week. Cheerio.